Zimbabwe cash crisis worse. Talking about Venezuela once again. Systemic important thanks. They removed the 1,000 called monetary awareness. Hey there, back with another RTD News update, and tonight we're going to talk about pensions and the pending pension cuts in the state of California as a Supreme Court decision later on this year that will determine whether or not the California governor can cut benefits for the future retirees or not. And so I got about 4 articles I want to share with you, all dealing with some things that happened over the last couple of days and some more recent articles dealing with what's happening in the UK with a company that went belly up, but yet the shareholders still received their dividend payouts along the way. So before I dive into that, as always, if you're new to RTD, I want to encourage you to click the subscribe button for more RTD News updates, as well as live events, as well as interviews. And then also, if you haven't already, join me over on steemit.com, where I post a lot of written articles that I'm not able to share here directly via video. And so if you follow me there and send me a little note, I'll make sure to follow you back there. I think it's a good way for the RTD community to get involved with the crypto sector with that for absolutely free, other than just being able to post articles and things that interest you. So let's dive into those articles. So here's an article from Bloomberg Politics, and it's California's Brown raises prospects of pension cuts in downturn. Next one here is from Mish Talk, and it says drastic pension cuts will hit California, Kentucky, and other states. Next one here is from the Sacramento Bee, and it is pensions will be on the chopping block in the next recession, Jerry Brown says. And then the very last one is from Financial Times, and it is Carillion under fire for raising dividend as pension deficit grew. And so, as always, before I actually get into these, I want to encourage you to take the time yourself to just thumb through these articles yourself so you can get a better understanding of what's actually inside of them. Just to understand what's happening with regards to this pension situation, how not only do we have everything happening out east, we have everything happening in this country, but then we also have the most important subject for retirees is the idea that the promises that were made to them years ago are on the chopping blocks or are in jeopardy of not being lived up to. And so it's going to cause a major awakening in our country as far as people not being able to receive what they were promised years and years ago, and having put in 30, 40 years of their hard labor and sweat into a job and told that they will receive benefits for the rest of their life, which they're going to find out is not true at all. So briefly here, the California Brown raises prospect of pension cuts and downturn. Just want to thumb through it briefly, but yet here it says Supreme Court is set to consider if benefit cuts are permissible. It says ruling could provide relief to cash-strapped localities. It says California Governor Jerry Brown said legal rulings may clear the way for making cuts to public pension benefits, which will go against long-standing assumptions and potentially provide financial relief to the state and its local governments. It says across the country, state and local governments have about $1.7 trillion less than what they need to cover retirement benefits, the result of investment losses, of failure by governments to make adequate contributions, and perks granted in boom times. It says, quoted here, in the next downturn, when things look pretty dire, that will be one of the items on the chopping block, Brown says. So basically saying here that when the next recession comes, there is no doubt that they will have more problems with living up to those obligations that they have on the books. And so the only thing they can do is begin to cut pensions as well as the benefits promised along the way. Next article here is from Mish Talk, and it says drastic pension cuts will hit California, Kentucky, and other states. So here it pretty much says the same thing here, but yet Brown said he has a hunch the court would modify the so-called California rule, which holds that benefits promised to public employees can't be rolled back. It says that will be a major shift in California, where municipal government officials have long believed they couldn't adjust the benefits even as they struggle to cover the cost. They have raised taxes and dipped into reserve to meet rising contributions. The California Public Employees Retirement System, the nation's largest public pension, has about 68% of its assets needed to cover its liabilities. And so it says pension cuts are coming. And here he talks about how they're going to come with the possibility of bankrupts for local governments and municipalities. It says, however, whether or not the cuts are reasonable is irrelevant in cases of bankruptcy. Bankruptcy is under federal law, not state law. So here lists are the states that actually qualify to be able to file a Chapter 9 and those that don't. And it says municipalities located in states that are green generally have a right to declare bankruptcy. Those in purple don't. There could be a bankruptcy legislation at the national level that would supersede state constitutions, and he's saying he's in favor of that. And then it says here, it says a translation of all this, things are dire and pensions are going to be cut. Hey there, just want to take a quick minute to interrupt this video to remind you to visit the rethinkingthedollar.com website, where you get a chance to see all of my postings as well as educational resources, and as well as visit the RTD store where I have some free material for you as well as some t-shirts. And if you're interested in being more of a blessing to Rethinking the Dollar, I want to encourage you to visit the RTD donation page where I have a couple links there for you to contribute to this alternative media of work. Other than that, let's get back to the show. Next one here is from the Sacramento Bee, and it says pensions would be on the chopping block in the next recession. Jerry Brown, just a different perspective from the prior articles. It says Governor Jerry Brown this week predicted that his 2012 pension law will survive union challenges in court and blow a hole in the so-called California rule that has restricted changes to public employee retirement plans for half a century. He's quoted as saying, "When the next recession comes around, the governor will have the option of considering pension cutbacks for the first time in a long time," Brown said at a news conference this past week as he unveiled the 2018-19 budget plan. It says Brown's pension has required public employees hired after January 1st, 2013 to contribute more money toward their retirements and cap their benefits by eliminating generous benefits that the state gave to public workers during the dot-com boom. Still, both pension funds are considered seriously underfunded because they owe tens of billions of dollars more in benefits than they have on hand. And it says the two pension funds are getting some help from the booming stock market this year. It says CalPERS had gained more than $30 billion since July 1st, giving it a portfolio worth about $355 million. And so the idea that the CalPERS is doing well, according to that article there, is only temporary because the stock market is at all-time high. But yet, once there is a correction, all those gains will be wiped away, and then they will be really in the negative as far as what they don't have to pay out. So last one here. This is from Financial Times, and it says Carillion under fire for raising dividends as pension deficit grew. So here we have a collapsed construction company called Carillion is under fire for increasing dividend payments to investors as the funding hole in its pension scheme grew. It says thousands of members of Carillion's multiple retirement schemes face cuts to their current and future pension benefits after the group collapsed this past Monday. The Pension Protection Fund, the industry-funded scheme that pays pensions if a company goes bust, was still assessing which of the group's 13 retirement schemes with 27,500 members in total may transfer to it after Carillion was forced into liquidation. It says Carillion on Monday came under fire for rewarding shareholders with dividend increases as its pension shortfall, or the difference between its assets and liabilities, grew to £587 million, reported in the interim results last year from $317.6 million at the end of 2015. So that's kind of what's happening in the news in regards to this pension situation. So the developments in California will be something to keep an eye on, because if this Supreme Court decision goes in favor of what the government's proposing, then there will be major cuts, and then that will pave the way for many other states as well as cities, and probably eventually to the private sector, to begin looking at how they can adjust some of these supposedly payouts that they can't afford because they are underfunded. So just something to keep an eye on, and it's very sad to think about the idea that a lot of people who are receiving benefits right now may receive a drastic cut, and then those that are expecting to retire and to receive some type of money may not be able to receive nearly what they expected or was promised during the years when they were working and looking forward to that day of retiring and receiving some type of payout. So just want to share with you some last minute articles that I came across that I thought was well worth getting out to you. Just something to keep an eye on in regards to this pension situation, because this year, as the market situation unfolds, as everything happening out east continues to unravel, these are just more stories that has no happy ending at the very end of it. And so definitely, if you have family and friends that are expecting pensions or are currently receiving pensions, this is definitely some information you might want to share with them so that they can be aware of what's coming, so they can probably clamp back right now some of their expenditures in order to save some of the payouts so that they can have it for a rainy day down the line. So other than that, hope all is well, and this will be the last news update for tonight. Enjoy your night.